Okay, today we're going to be going over capitalization, and I know you guys think it's really basic, that it's super easy to capitalize correctly, but there are some nuances to it. So again, this presentation will be available as a Google Slides on our Canvas page. But if you want more direction, here's the video as well. In essence, capitalization is to separate the proper from the common. Okay, we'll go over why capitalization is important, how to properly capitalize, and to correct common capitalization errors. Okay, so you capitalize things to show that they are specific. If they're not specific, it's general and they're not capitalized. They show proper nouns like people or places. It's polite to show capitalization, so if you wanted to insult someone, you wouldn't capitalize their name, which I know it sounds silly to be able to insult someone just by using a certain grammar mistake, but that's how it works, okay? So you don't want to do that. And it also shows that you're not lazy. For standardized tests, if you don't capitalize something correctly for the essay portion, they are going to think that you're dumb. It's just the fact of the matter. So you can't be lazy about it. And the best way to avoid those mistakes on standardized tests, resumes, presentations, college applications, is you have to just get in the habit and do it all the time now, okay? If you don't, you're going to make a mistake and it's going to hurt you. And I don't want that to happen. Resumes, when you send those out to businesses, you get about 30 seconds of someone looking at your resume. As soon as they see one typo, and capitalization is super easy to catch, they're not going to pick you because they're going to think you're dumb or that you don't work hard or that you didn't pay attention in school. And all of those things count against you. They want someone who's going to be reliable, who tries hard, who puts forth effort, and who pays attention to the work that they submit. Okay, so it's not just some stupid thing, and I'm not just being a nitpicky English teacher, even though I do love knitting, and I do love checking for grammar. It really is an important habit to get into. I cannot emphasize this enough, okay? Again, you capitalize proper nouns, not common nouns. Okay, so California is a specific state, it's a specific place, you capitalize it. If you're talking about the states in general, you don't capitalize them. Flagstaff is an important, well, of course we think it's important, we live here. It's a specific city, and so that's why we capitalize it versus a general one. Coconino High School, obviously the best high school in Flagstaff, right? Capitalized because it's specific versus general, which is lowercase. Like I went to high school when I was a teenager. You don't capitalize it. But I went to Coconino High School. You better watch out because I have the best teachers and the best education thanks to the school. You capitalize that. Do I have some Panther pride? Heck yes. Okay, yeah, just because we're doing virtual school does not mean you don't get to listen to my corny jokes, okay? So the reason I go over this slide is because even though it's basic, if your first language was Spanish, there are some different capitalization rules. So if your Spanish, Navajo, French, German, etc. teachers haven't gone over grammar and capitalization with you, there are different rules for different languages. Just one more thing we have to memorize, right? So I go to school on Tuesdays. Tuesday is a day of the week, you capitalize it. If you're learning Spanish, you know that martes, which is how they say Tuesday in Spanish, it is not capitalized. Okay? It will be October soon and Halloween. Okay? October in Spanish is octubre. You don't capitalize the months in Spanish. You do in English. Specific holidays you capitalize, like Independence Day, which I think it's better to call it Independence Day instead of the 4th of July. Okay? That's a national holiday. Okay? A general holiday like that, you don't capitalize, but this is specific. So you can tell these are all specific instances, we capitalize them. I see so many people capitalize seasons and you do not do that. Okay, adults don't even know this rule, so yeah. And the numbers of the days in the month, you don't. Okay, so groundhog determines when spring begins, spring is not capitalized. School starts on August 2nd, we capitalize August, not the 2nd, because that's just the number of a month. Okay, spring break is a specific holiday, so we do not capitalize spring break because it's not nationally recognized. Excuse me, that's the biggest mistake is people want to capitalize spring break and you do not. Always capitalize the first word of sentence, and you always capitalize I. Microsoft Word will automatically capitalize I for you. Usually text messages do as well, or like smartphones, but sometimes they don't. Okay? So make sure that you capitalize I. Dutch Brothers, which that's how they call it in Portland, and it originated in Oregon, so it's Dutch Brothers, not Dutch Bros. I am not wrong about this. I will get my aunt to tell you guys. I know it's spelled Dutch Bros, but we're staying with it. Specific coffee place, you capitalize it. Starbucks is also specific, so is McDonald's. That's why we capitalize them. But if you're just making coffee at home, sorry, you don't capitalize it. Okay, you only capitalize the dates if they are holidays. Veterans Day is a holiday, but the 3rd of July, the 3rd is nothing, but you do capitalize July. You capitalize specific school subjects. This is one that people get really confused and messed up with. Geometry 101 is a specific class. Math is not. Okay? Culinary is not specific. English, Spanish, Navajo, German, those are all languages which we would capitalize anyway. So some school subjects are not capitalized and some are. That's where it gets tricky. So again, we started this presentation and you thought, oh man, I've been covering capitalization since first grade. This is so boring. Miss Stevens must think we're dumb. No, I don't think you're dumb. We're taking capitalization to the next level. Okay? Also, English is more important than the other subjects, which is why we capitalize it. Just kidding, wishful thinking. It's because it's a language. This is another tricky one. You capitalize the titles of people when they're used as a proper noun, but not alone. Okay, so Dr. Begonia, this is a specific doctor, which is why it's capitalized. If you say, I like seeing the doctor, not capitalized. Same with this. Dentist, general. The district attorney, general. But district attorney can act as a title, like doctor is a title, and her name is behind it. So district attorney Catherine is me. That's why it's capitalized, because it's a specific district attorney. So usually when you need to know if you capitalize something, you just ask yourself, is it specific or general? Okay, when you deal with titles, capitalization is another issue. You capitalize all major words in a title and subtitle for books, articles, and songs. What is not considered a major word? Prepositions, conjunctions, and articles. Okay? That's why going over parts of speech is important, because you need those things to know how to correctly capitalize a title. Okay? That's one of the reasons we need to know parts of speech, which is another basic thing from elementary school that you need to just memorize and know. Once you have it memorized, you're going to use it so frequently, it'll be common. Okay? But if you don't have it memorized, it's just one more step. And so it's better to memorize it rather than have a learned helplessness. You capitalize the first word of a quoted sentence, but not a quoted phrase. So I would like to visit England someday is a complete sentence. That's why we capitalize I, besides the fact that I is capitalized no matter what. Notice there is a comma there, because this is part of dialogue. However, when researching, Mrs. Thompson recommends writing down the source. You can see that this introduction of the quoted phrase just goes as if it's one sentence. So if you weren't looking at the sentence, you wouldn't know that there's a quotation mark there. So that's why you don't need to capitalize it. Sometimes in dialogue, it'll be like, I would like to visit England someday, Miguel said, because blah, blah, blah. So if you separate the sentence into two parts, then you wouldn't capitalize the because. Colons. This is a tricky part of speech that we're going to be going over later in the semester. I guess it's not that tricky. But you capitalize the first word after a colon if it begins an independent clause, which means a complete sentence. This is a capitalization rule that most adults do not know. I challenge you to ask your parents or your other teachers, and I'm guessing that 90% of them won't know this rule. Okay? So we see the colon here. Yarn, ice cream, boots, and a sewing machine. That's a phrase. There's no verb in there. Okay? So the yarn is not capitalized. Students must follow Students must follow it even if they don't agree or fully understand it. That's a complete sentence, which is why the S in students is capitalized. We'll go over why you use colons because there's a few reasons that people use colons, and sometimes it's subjective. If you don't want to write with colons, you can organize your sentences around that. You do capitalize abbreviations. NYPD for New York Police Department, DKNY, Donna Karen, New York. RSVP is a French word. My pronunciation is going to be awful. It's Répondez s'il vous plaît. Okay, so respond if you please. ASAP, as soon as possible. TV, television. Okay is a word that trips people up a lot. If you're writing okay like this, you capitalize both because it's an abbreviation. The full word okay is not that long. It's O-K-A-Y, but you don't capitalize it if you're spelling it out. Okay? And those are all of the capitalization rules that we're going to go over today, and it's not too hard. So there is a Google form where I want you to fill out to see how well do you know how to capitalize things. If you make mistakes, it's okay. You can take it twice. The goal is that you learn how to capitalize so that in your essays, resumes, presentations that you do throughout your life, whether it's in high school, college, or in your career, that you do it correctly, and that way you look smart and that you pay attention to detail, that no detail is too big. Thank you so much.